this class you need a block for today, and if you don't have a block at home, just use a biggish book that is quite thick, and then you can use that to lean to and also to sit on, okay? So what you want to do, you want to sit on the book or on the block and match your sitting bones to the front edge of the block, and then roll the sitting bones forward so the sitting bones come on the front of the block, and then cross your legs in front of you. I tend to have one foot basically touching the groin and the other one right in front, and that gives me a sort of nice triangular pose where I can stay in meditation for long periods of time. Okay, so we're working today on the lower back. So we're going to do exercises of the lower back that basically stretch and strengthen different parts of the back, okay? As we go through the asanas, I'm going to talk you through it. More importantly, if you have any problem with your lower back, today is not the day that you're going to push yourself, okay? Today is the day when you're sort of assessing what's going on, and you're also checking. It's almost like it's a diagnostic tool. As you're doing the yoga class, you're also checking what postures cause pain, and there's counter postures all the time, okay? So just be careful if you've got any injuries of the lower back or you've had them in the past. Take it easy and just do the basic part of the asana, okay? Now, starting to work on the core muscle. Most of the time, when you're doing yoga, you need to have your core muscle engaged all the time. Otherwise, all you're doing is a stretching class, okay? So, first of all, make sure you pin me. So you're clicking on my image, Olga, and bottom left corner, the 3 dots. Click on that dots and you're pinning me so I come up on the big screen. Pelvic floor, so you need to basically pull in on the pelvic floor, and you're able to do that by squeezing your bum hole and sucking the belly in, so you've got this pulling and tucking of the lower part of the abdomen. Then you open the chest and you're tucking your chin under, so you're activating the upper part of the core muscles. So you're feeling that there's a pulling sensation on the lower abdomen that keeps you all right and keeps everything upright. You're also feeling a little bit of a tension on the glutes as you're doing this pulling up, okay? But the glutes are relaxed. And now we're going to do a type of breathing that helps the lower chakra, which also helps with the lower back. So we're going to take, look at me first, we're going to take a deep breath in, and then we're going to do exhaling through the abdomen. So we're doing okay? So take a deep breath in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. So you're contracting the diaphragm as you're doing that. Breathe in and out. 2 more. Breathe in and out through the mouth. And 1 more. Breathe in and out through the mouth. And that's it. Now come back into a nice and rhythmic breathing through the nose only. So you're breathing in to the count of 5, breathing out to the count of 5. Again, the breath is very important, the same as the core muscle. So you want to maintain a nice and long breath through the nose, so you're activating your vagus nerve and you're able to relax the body. And then working still with the breath, open your eyes, interlace the fingers and stretch the arms in front of you so you're looking at the palms of your hands. On the next inhale, you're pushing the palms away from you, straighten the arms. On the exhale, you're bringing your arms up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulders away from you. Notice what happens to the lower part of the belly when you're bringing your arms up. So you're sucking the belly in again, reactivating the core muscles, stretching the sides of the body. And then on the next inhale, you're stretching the left side. You're keeping your left arm up towards the ceiling, right hand down towards the floor. Inhale, stretch the left side, extend, bending the right elbow. You're leaning towards your right, looking down towards your left armpit. So at this point, we're warming up, so you don't want to do anything too drastic, okay? You just want to feel the stretch on the left side of the body. On the next inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, left hand by the block, right hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, stretch the right side. Exhale, lean towards your left, bending the left elbow, looking down towards your right armpit. Keeping that right glutes grounding down through the sitting bones and stretching that right side of the body by keeping your right arm as straight as you can. On the next inhale, come back to the center. Right hand behind you, left hand over the right knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, using your arms, you're twisting to the right, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your right shoulder. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, you're twisting towards your right. So you should feel a stretch onto the whole part of the back, but especially the upper part on this posture. And then inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, left hand behind you, right hand over the left knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your left, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your left shoulder. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, you're turning towards your left. And come back to the center, let go of the block, but make sure you can grab it at any point during the class. And come on your fours. So hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. So the hands are shoulder width apart, the knees are hip width apart. On your tabletop, on the next inhale, you're looking forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out, you're relaxing the belly. On the exhale, you're starting to curve the back towards the ceiling, pushing the bum towards your hands, contracting the abdominals, looking down towards your knees. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees. You're doing 2 more times, following your breath. So nice and long movements. Inhale into the count of 4, you do 1 movement. Exhale into the count of 5, doing the other movement. And then on the next inhale, you're coming back into a tabletop. Tuck your toes under and exhale, push the bum up towards the ceiling, looking down towards your feet. On the inhale, you're bending the right knee, transferring the weight onto the back of the leg, the left leg, opening the back of the left leg. On the exhale, you're bending the left knee, stretching the right leg, transferring the weight there. And then very gently following your breath, you keep on walking on the spot, starting to open up the back of the legs. And then on the next inhale, look towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet hip width apart. Grab hold of the opposite elbow. Inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine, bend the knees. Exhale, fold forward, rest the torso on the thighs, letting go of the head, pointing the top of the head down towards the floor, using the weight of the head to stretch the neck and to sort of stretch the upper part of the back. So give yourself a little bit of a nod here, turn your head right and left. And then when you're ready, you can start straightening the legs if you want to, bringing your body towards the right leg and then towards the left. And when you're done, start bringing your body back towards the center, bend the knees, release the hands onto the mat, and exhale, you're coming up into a standing position, head last to come up. Come to the top of the mat, starting with the mountain pose, big toes are touching. So when you're participating to any class, you might incur the possibility of injury. So as you're participating in this class, you're taking full responsibility if you incur into an injury, and just be careful that you've got enough space and you're aware of your body, okay? So big toes are touching, distribute the weight into the middle of the toes, so you're not leaning too much on your heels nor on your toes. Pull the kneecaps up, Suck the belly in. You're tilting your pelvis under, so you want to feel that pulling into the lower part of the abdomen. So you're tilting the pelvis under until you're feeling that pulling sensation. Bring the belly button towards the spine, suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under, arms by your sides with the fingers pointing down towards the floor. And just set out an intention today that you're going to do your best, not only to train the body, but also to train the mind, by trying to focus the mind all the time on the breath. And just keep on counting the breath, keep on keeping it nice and long. Every time your mind wanders off, just come back to the breath. And we're going to do 3 sun salutations to start with. I'm going to start at a basic level. If you already find that challenging, you're staying at the basic level for the rest of the ones. Otherwise, I go up 1 notch at a time. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, look up at the hands, suck the belly in. Exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, bringing your hands on the shin, the ankle or the mat. On the next inhale, you're pushing through the hands, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, hands on the mat, step the right leg out into a lunge, left leg to meet it into a high plank. We're setting the plank by bringing the shoulders above the wrist and pushing the heels away from us. So we're coming into one long line between the heels and the head. You're looking down towards the floor, pull the kneecaps up, squeeze the glutes, suck the belly in, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, knees to the floor, leading with the chest. You're rubbing the elbows by your rib cage and you're bringing your chest down to the floor. Top of the feet on the mat, hands underneath the shoulders. On the next inhale, peel the chest off the floor, roll the shoulders away from you, look forward. Exhale, tuck your toes under, come into your hands and knees. Bring the seat towards your heels and you're coming up into a downward dog. Stepping your feet forward, keeping the feet hip-width apart. You're trying to bring the heels down towards the floor and try to keep the legs as straight as you can. If you're struggling with that, come on your tiptoes, bend the knees, push the bum up, and then see if you can very gently bring the heels down to a comfortable pace. You're looking down towards your feet so your neck is nice and long. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet together. Exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head. On the next inhale, you're coming up a little bit, so you're engaging the lower abdominals. Bring the hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands by your sides. Look at me first. We're gonna do everything okay? I can see a video, yeah, all right. Look at me first. I'm gonna show you the plank. When you're doing the plank, you're aiming to have one long line. So you're not here and you're not here, okay? So you want to push the heels away from you, squeeze the shoulder blades together. When you're coming down into a lower plank, you're trying to push the chest forward. So the shoulders are not round, are pushing forward. So when you're coming down, you're trying to push the chest forward, and then you're coming up into an up dog. So you're not here, you're here, okay? All right, so we're gonna do it together again. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat. Add a step or jump into a high plank. On the next inhale, set the plank. Exhale, add a low plank or knees to the floor. Inhale, push the body through the hands. Straighten the arms, up dog. Roll the shoulders away from you, look forward. Exhale, tuck your toes under, downward dog. Adjusting your feet as you did the first time. And now we're concentrating into the upper part of the body. So the hands are as wide as the shoulders, wrists in line with the top of the mat. Roll the shoulders away from you, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Tilt your pelvis under so you're feeling a contraction of your lower abdominals. And now keeping the hands where they are, you're pushing your hands away from you. So you're trying to bring the torso towards the thighs. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands. If you want to jump to the top of the mat, you're coming on your tiptoes, bend the knees, squeeze the thighs together, and try to jump to the top of the mat, keeping the legs as straight as you can. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Last one. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, either step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank. Exhale at a low plank or knees to the floor. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Bring all the elements together of the posture and deepen the breath. So you're inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Tilt your pelvis under. Very important for your lower back. So don't overarch your back. Tilt the pelvis under, and then you're pushing the hands away from you. So you're keeping your back safe as you're coming to the end, to basically the limit of your stretch. Last breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking forward, either step or jump to the top of the mat. And exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay? So, we're coming to the top of the mat, and we're keeping our feet hip width apart. So on the next inhale, hands on the hips, bend the knees, you're folding forward, you're trying to grab hold of the big toes with the index and the middle finger. So you need to bend the knees until you're able to do that. And then on the next inhale, push the chest forward, lengthen the spine, and on the exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head, and then you're trying to straighten the legs as much as you can. If you've got any problems with the lower back, keep your knees bent. You can also rest the torso on the thighs. Letting go of the head, so you're pointing the top of the head down towards the floor. And now what you're going to do, you're going to pull with the fingers the big toe up, and you're pressing down with the big toe, so you're resisting that pulling, and that sort of opens your collarbones and your chest bone. You're bending the elbows at the side, flopping them to the sides. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, you're looking forward, bend the knees, place your hands on the hips, and you're coming up into a standing position. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. The next pose we're going to do is going to be the triangle pose. There's a lot of elements on the triangle pose. On this occasion, we're focusing on the core and on the lower back, okay? So I'm going to start giving you instruction for the lower back, and then I give you the elements of the other stuff. Bring your feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping with the right foot 2/3 of the mat, bending the toe, turning the toes towards the top right corner of the mat. Okay, now what you want to do, especially for the lower back, you want to pull the kneecaps up, keeping the legs straight as much as you can. By doing that, you're protecting your lower back, okay? On the next inhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor, pull the kneecaps up, engage the front of the thighs, and exhale, you're leaning towards the front leg, placing your hands either on the shin or on the inside of the ankle, bringing your right arm up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from you. Now, in this position now, you want to focus on the core muscle. So on the inhale, you're pulling the kneecaps up, suck the belly in, lengthening the left side of your rib cage. And on the exhale, you're turning the torso towards your right. So you're trying to turn the torso towards the right side, either looking straight ahead or towards your right hand. You should feel that both legs are still engaged, and you should feel that your core muscle is engaged by pulling the belly button towards the spine. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And now you can roll that right shoulder back. So you're trying to keep the shoulder blade towards the spine, pointing the hand up towards the ceiling. And then on the next inhale, looking down towards the floor. Exhale, you're bringing your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you step into the front of the mat. We're gonna do it on the other side. Feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping with the left foot, 2/3 of the mat, but not a big stance, okay? Turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Exhale, you're leaning forward and you're placing your hands on the shin or on the inside of the ankle. You don't want to put all your weight onto the hand. You just want to basically almost linger in there, okay? And then on the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, suck the belly in. Exhale, turn the torso towards your left. Left arm up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from you, rolling the left shoulder back, but keeping the hand pointing up towards the ceiling. Focus on the legs, focus on keeping your kneecaps engaged, the front of the thighs engaged, and the belly button squeezed towards the spine. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. On the inhale, you're lengthening the right side of your rib cage. On the exhale, you're turning the torso towards your left. Last breath here. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you're stepping to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, warrior 1. Again, warrior 1, we're gonna focus on the lower back, okay? So, feet hip width apart. You're starting with the feet hip width apart because when you're stepping back, you want to maintain that feet width, okay? So, step with your right foot back. This is quite a longer stance than the triangle pose. You're turning the toes still towards the top right corner of the mat. The right foot should be further out than the front foot, so you can square the hips towards the front. If your foot is too way behind your front foot, then step it out. Square the hips, and then on the next inhale, make sure that right leg is planted onto the floor, the leg is straight, the heel is on the mat. On the next exhale, you're bending the front leg, you still want to see the big toes. Now, this is where we want to work on the lower back. On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. And now, as you're starting to look up towards the ceiling or looking up towards the hands, you're starting to gently micro-bend the back, okay? To a point that is still comfortable for you. Still make sure that the front leg is bent. And now, to protect the lower back, we're starting to engage the front of the abdominal. So suck the belly in, engage the core, squeeze that right glute, and gently, you're sort of micro-bending. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. Roll the shoulder back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. Squeeze that belly button towards the spine. Make sure you're feeling your abdominals engaged. And then on the next inhale, you're looking straight forward. Take a short step forward with your back foot. And then as you're folding forward, you're lifting the right leg off the floor into warrior 3. Push that right leg up so that the leg is parallel to the floor, pointing the toes down towards the floor. 3, 2, and 1. Start bending the standing leg, bringing the right leg down towards the floor, giving yourself a little bit of a shake. If you struggle with the warrior 3, bring a chair in front of you so that you can sort of balance yourself on that chair for the next side, okay? So if you struggle with the balancing pose, bring a chair in front of you. Okay, feet hip width apart, hands on the hips, you're stepping with the left foot out, 2/3 of the mat, turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. Make sure that left leg is straight, heel is on the floor, and then on the next inhale, bend the front leg, still wanting to see the big toe. You need to square the hips towards the front, On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Now, when you're bending backward, you want to feel a little bit of a stretch, but no pain, okay? So start looking up towards the ceiling, bending slightly backwards, and now you're engaging the front of the abdominals. So suck the belly in, engage the front of the abdominals, squeeze that left glute, inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. The more you're bending the front leg, the more stretch you're getting on the lower back. So if you want a little bit of a release, just straighten the leg a little bit. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. Make sure that abdominals are engaged. And then on the next inhale, you're looking forward. Take a short step with the left leg. Bend the front leg as you're leaning forward. You're lifting the left leg off the floor, straightening the right leg, pointing the left toes down towards the floor. One long breath here. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, bend the front leg. Bring your left leg down towards the floor. Hands on the hips. And you're stepping to the front of the mat. Give yourself a bit of a shake again. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to work on the iliopsoas, okay? So far we've worked on the front and the back. The iliopsoas is a muscle that comes from the back and goes across into the pelvis, okay? So it's quite a strong muscle and it is often the cause of back pain, okay? So we do an exercise that stretches that area, okay? So imagine that you've got something attaching to the lower back going all the way across, okay? So we're starting with the feet hip width apart, hands on the hips, and you're stepping with the right foot into a lunge. You still need to have the right foot further out than the front. Square the hips towards me. Push the right heel away from you so the right leg is straight. And you're bending the front leg. Now you should already feel a stretch onto the front of the right hip. This is what we're stretching now, okay? On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders away from you. Look forward, suck the belly in. Push the right heel away from you. The more straight the leg, the more stretch you're getting into the front of the right hip. And then now, what we're going to do, on the next inhale, you're straightening the front leg. On the exhale, you're bending the front leg, but you're keeping that right leg straight by pushing the heel away from you. So you're not bending the right leg. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend the front leg. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend, pushing that right heel away from you, right leg is straight. Last one, inhale, straighten. As you're bending the front leg, you're bringing the right knee down towards the floor. Hands on the hips. If you want to use a pillow underneath the right knee to just give a little bit of padding. And now hands on the hips, we're pushing that right hip forward. So you're really feeling the stretch onto the front of the right hip. Now you've got a couple of options. You've got the option of bringing your hands up towards the ceiling, that deepens the stretch. Or also you're bringing your left hand behind you and the right hand stays up towards the ceiling. You're leaning slightly back and towards the left. Whatever, even the arms up, still work very well. All you want to feel is this stretch on the front of the hip and on sort of on your lower back, okay? One more breath here. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, bring your hands on the hips. Your right toes are tucked under and you're straightening the right leg, coming back into a lunge, stepping to the front of the mat. Give yourself a bit of a shake. Okay. We're doing on the other side. Start with the feet hip width apart. Make sure that when you're stepping back with the left foot, you're still maintaining this hip width apart sort of stance. You're on the tiptoes of the left foot. The heel is off the floor. you're pushing that left heel away from you, so you're keeping that left leg as straight as you can. The straighter the leg, the bigger the stretch. You're bending the right knee, still wanting to see the big toe. And then when you're ready, start bringing your arms up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders away from you. Suck the belly in. And then start really deepening into the pose by sitting in between the legs, pushing that left heel away from you. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, you're bending the front leg, keeping that left leg straight by pushing the left heel away from you. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend, keep that left leg straight. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Last one. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Bring the left knee down towards the floor. Hands on the hips. Pad your left knee if you need to. You're still on the tiptoes of the left toes. And then push that hips forward. So you're really feeling the stretch onto the front of the left hip. When you're ready, you can bring your arms up towards the ceiling. If you're already finding that there's a big stretch here, just stay here, okay? Otherwise, you can bring your arms up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulders away from you. And if you want to go further, you're bringing your right hand behind you and you're leaning slightly back and towards the right with the left arm up towards the ceiling. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands to the hips, straighten the left leg, and step to the front of the mat. Give yourself a bit of a shake. Oof. Okay, so now what we're going to do a side plank. The reason we're doing the side plank is to engage the obliques, which are the internal obliques, which are basically these muscles that wrap around from the back all the way to the front, okay? Doing the side plank engages those muscles, okay? So, 2 ways of doing the side plank. You either bring in your elbow with the forearm in front of you, palms down, elbow underneath the shoulder. You're keeping the left leg, the right leg, so you're leaning onto the right. You're keeping the right leg down onto the floor, and then you can straighten the left leg and push the hips up. So the knees on the floor, you're just pushing the hips up, okay? Otherwise, you're bringing your hand underneath the shoulders, and either you do this keeping the knee down, or you're keeping the feet together, and you're doing the plank here, okay? It doesn't really matter. Do it properly, and you're still getting the benefit by doing the easier version, okay? So, start with the hand either underneath the shoulder or the elbow underneath the shoulder with the forearm resting down onto the floor. Let's start with the knee down onto the floor. We're gonna do the first one like this, okay? And then left leg is straight, push the hips up, left hand up towards the ceiling. Hips up towards the ceiling. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring the left arm underneath the right armpit, and we're coming back up. Left arm underneath the right armpit, coming back up. One more. Left arm underneath the right armpit, coming back up. Resting the bum down onto the floor, coming up for a second. And we're gonna do it on the other side, and then we're gonna do it one more time, okay? So, left elbow underneath the left shoulder, left leg down onto the floor, the leg is bent, okay? And then your right leg is straight. Push the hips up, so you're pressing down onto the lower leg by keeping the hips up. Right arm up towards the ceiling. Suck the belly in. Look straight ahead. And then on the next inhale, right arm underneath the left armpit, right arm up towards the ceiling. 2 more times. And 1 more time. And then rest the bum down onto the floor, coming up sitting. We're gonna do it one more time. This time I'm gonna show you. So if you're already happy with this position, just repeat it as we've done it. Otherwise I'll show you the more advanced version, okay? The hand is underneath the shoulder. The legs, both legs are straight. I tend to put one leg in front of the other, arm up towards the ceiling. From here, you can also do the wild thing by turning, hugging the left knee towards the chest, bringing it backward, and bringing the chest up towards the ceiling. Arm behind you, and then you're coming back down, okay? Choose whichever version you want to do. I'm gonna do the advanced version. Hand underneath the shoulder, both legs straight, push the hips up, arm up towards the ceiling. And then left knee towards the chest, bring the left leg behind you, wild thing, pushing the hips up, chest to the ceiling, arm behind you, and then very gently just come back down. And we're gonna do it on the other side. Arm underneath the shoulder, both legs straight. Push your hips up, hands up towards the ceiling. Pushing the hips up. You don't have to do the wild thing. So you're already feeling that this is enough. Just come back down as you are. Otherwise, right knee towards the chest. Bring the right leg behind you. Chest up, hips up. And then bringing the hands down towards the floor, coming down with the hands and knees, and you're coming into child pose. So come back down from wherever position you are. You're coming with the knees onto the floor, feet, top of the feet onto the floor. Sit on your heels, arms forward, forehead onto the floor. And then you're coming into your hands and knees and bring your body down onto the mat. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna exercise the muscles on the back, okay? So that is the erector spine and the quadratus lumborum, okay? Mainly, there's other muscles, but these are the main ones that we're doing. So by coming up, we're tensing up and we're reinforcing, strengthening those muscles, okay? So as you can see, we've done a 360 degrees exercising of all the muscles around the lower back. So you're lying down onto the floor, arms alongside the body, palms facing up towards the ceiling, forehead onto the mat. On the next inhale, you're lifting the chest off the floor, legs off the floor, arms away from the body, pointing up towards the ceiling. 3, 2, and 1. Come back down, make a pillow with your hands. Turn your head towards your right, rocking your hips from side to side. We're gonna do it 2 more times, okay? This time, forehead onto the floor, arms interlaced behind your back, so the fingers are interlaced behind your back. On the next inhale, lift the chest off the floor, arms away from the body, legs off the floor. You're looking just beyond the mat. 3, 2, and 1. Relax your body down. Make a pillow with your hands. Turn the head to the left. Rock your hips from side to side. Okay, last time, either you repeat what you've just done on one of the 2 versions, or if you want to do the bow, you're bringing your knees as wide as the mat and you're bringing your big toes to touch. With your hands, you're grabbing hold of the ankles on the outside of the ankles, and then when you're ready, legs off the floor, chest off the floor, you're rolling onto your pelvis. 3, 2, and 1. Release yourself back down. Make a pillow, head turning towards your right, rocking your hips from side to side. And then hands underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes under, come into your hands and knees, come back into a child pose. And then on the next inhale, start walking your hands towards the body. Bring your bum either side of the feet so you can bring your legs forward. If you need a block at this stage, you place it underneath your bum. You want to have your legs straight with the toes pointing up towards the ceiling, being able to sit up straight, upright, okay? Remove the flesh away from your buttocks. Point the toes up towards the ceiling, hands either side of the bum with the fingers pointing towards the toes. We're working again on the core muscle. So you're clenching your bum hole, sucking the belly in, opening the chest, tucking the chin under, rolling the elbows away from you, gently bending the elbows, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Close your eyes for a second, re-engage with the breath. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5 while you're still sitting upright using your core muscle. Obviously, these are transferable skills, so when you're sitting by a chair, you still want to have the same muscles engaged. So you're not resting on the back of your chair, you're using the core muscles all the time as you're sitting on the desk, okay? Open your eyes, bring your hands up towards the ceiling on the inhale, bending at the hips, you're folding forward at the exhale, making sure the abdominals are still engaged. When you feel like they're starting to go, rest the hands wherever they're comfortable on the legs. And then on the next inhale, point the toes up towards the ceiling, bring the back of the knees down onto the mat, engage the core muscles. On the exhale, pulling on the hands, you're trying to bring the torso towards the thighs. Keep the integrity of the posture by keeping the core muscles engaged. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, come all the way up and you're placing the hands about a handbreadth away from the bum with the fingers pointing towards the toes. 2 versions here. The easier version is that you're bending the knees, placing the feet on the floor, pushing the hips up, looking down towards your knees, squeezing the glutes. Otherwise, you're keeping your legs straight by pointing the toes away from you, pushing the hips up, trying to bring the toes down onto the mat, pushing the hips up, sucking the belly in, either looking down towards your feet or looking up towards the ceiling. 3, 2, squeeze the glutes, and 1. Bring your bum down onto the mat. Make sure you're sitting in the middle of the mat. Bend the knees, hands in front of the knees, and roll yourself back, hugging the knees to the chest. Now stay here for quite a good 2 or 3 breaths, rocking slightly from side to side, really hugging the knees to the chest so you're releasing the front of the hip flexors that we sort of exercise today. And by rocking from side to side, you're just giving your lower back a little bit of a break. We've been mashing it today. Okay, so we're gonna do the bridge, yeah? We're gonna do 2 of them. So bring your feet as close as you can towards your hips. So you should be able to touch some part of the foot with your hands. Press your hands down onto the floor, tuck your chin to the chest. Now, before you push the hips up, you want to engage the pelvic floor. So you want to tilt the pelvis under. So at this point, only the bum is off the floor. Tilt the pelvis under, suck the belly in. Keeping the pelvis in this position, you're now pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. If you want, you can shuffle to the top of your shoulders by interlacing the fingers behind your back, but still tilt your pelvis under, suck the belly in, looking down towards your belly. Make sure the knees don't come out to the side. Squeeze the glutes. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, release the hands. And on the exhale, bring the back slowly down onto the mat, one vertebra at a time. Hug the knees to the chest. Rotate the knees together clockwise. So you're giving yourself a little bit of a massage on your lower back. And we're going to do the same one again, okay? I just want you to get this concept of the pelvis tucking under as you're pushing the hips up, okay? So feet as close as you can towards your hips, hip width apart. Hands pressing down onto the floor. Tilt your pelvis under so the bum is coming off the floor. And as you're keeping that sort of abdominals engaged, so if you're prodding onto your abdominals, they should be engaged, okay? And then push the hips up, tilt your pelvis under, sucking the belly in, looking down towards the belly, squeeze the glutes, pressing down on the heels and on the big toes by pushing the thighs up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the glutes one more time, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, release the back down onto the floor, hug the knees to the chest, rotate the knees anti-clockwise, so you're giving yourself a massage in the opposite direction. Okay, so now you're straightening the left leg. Place your hands on the back of the right leg, of the right thigh, straighten the right leg. So everybody will be at different levels. Now tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. So some of you will be like this. That means your hamstrings are quite tight. So you just need to work on it, okay? But point the toes towards me and stretch that leg as much as you can. So you're pushing that heel up towards the ceiling. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the flossing. You should know by now, but I'm gonna repeat it, okay? So on the next inhale, you're pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, lift the head up towards off the floor. Keeping the chin to the chest. On the exhale, you're bringing the head down, pointing the toes towards your body. So you don't wanna be here with the neck, you want to point the chin towards the chest. On the next inhale, point the toes up, lift the head up. Exhale, head down, toes towards the body. Inhale, point the toes up, head up. Exhale, toes towards you, chin to chest, head to the floor. Bend the right knee, swap the legs over. Extend the right leg down onto the mat. Hug the left knee towards the chest. Grab the back of the thigh with the hands. Straighten that left leg. Point the toes up towards you, chin to chest. Stay here for one more breath. And now we're going to do the flossing. On the next inhale, point the toes up, lift the head up. Exhale, head down, chin to chest, toes towards you. Inhale, toes to the ceiling, lift the head up. Exhale, head to the floor, toes towards you. Inhale, point the toes up, lift the head up. Exhale, toes to body, chin to chest. And then bend the knee and release it. We're going to do the twist now and then we're pretty much done, okay? We're not going to do an inversion today. So hug the right knee towards the chest, bring your right arm out towards the side. The only variation we're doing with this is that we're trying to bring the right knee as close as we can towards the left shoulder, okay? So you're placing your left hand on the outside of the right knee and then you're guiding that right knee towards the left shoulder, okay? As close as you can towards the left shoulder. You're looking towards your right hand. Now, normally, you want to keep that right shoulder up towards the ceiling. But because we're working on the lower back, you're more concerned with trying to bring that right knee down towards the floor, the lower leg resting onto the floor. And now really breathe into any area that feels tight as you're doing this stretch. And then allow it to open. So it's really a conscious choice of not tensing up, directing the breath on any area that feels tight or stiff or uncomfortable, and just directing the breath there, you allowing it to relax and to open up. Okay, and then very gently start bringing the head back to the center, right knee back to the center, swap the legs over. You're straightening the right leg, you're hugging the left knee towards the chest. Left arm out to the side, palm facing up towards the ceiling. Right hand on the outside from the top of the left knee, you're guiding that left knee towards the right shoulder, trying to bring the foot or the lower leg down onto the floor, looking towards your left hand, and try to really bring that knee down onto the floor. Deepen the breath, direct the breath on any area that feels uncomfortable, and just allowing it to relax and open up. And now very gently, just bring the head back to the center, left knee back to the center, hug both knees to the chest. And very gently, we're coming back into the last position, which is Shavasana, and a little bit of meditation. So we're extending the legs and we're bringing the feet as wide as the mat, flopping the feet to the sides, tilting the pelvis under so as much as your lower back is touching the floor. If the lower back is not touching the floor, then you're bending the knees and you're having your feet as wide as the mat, touching the knees with each other. And now roll the shoulders away from you, opening the arms slightly to the side, palms facing up towards the ceiling, chin to chest, having the neck nice and long. Now you should feel relatively comfortable. You can keep a pillow underneath your knees, a pillow underneath your head. Try not to move too much from this point onward. And we're going to try to just start relaxing and focusing the mind on different parts of the body. Okay? So the purpose of this part of the class is to really bring everything back together and sort of becoming aware of the body by trying to scan the body from head to toe and directing your attention there so that basically you're allowing it to relax. Okay, so it's a very deep and nice way of basically starting the day. Okay, so we're gonna start from the feet. Start bringing your attention to the feet, relaxing your feet. And then also focus on the toes, relaxing your toes, relaxing the inner arch and relaxing the heels. Now relax your ankles. Coming up to the lower leg, you're allowing the muscles on the front of your shin to relax. And now try to relax the calves. Bringing some awareness to the area, consciously relaxing your calves, relaxing your knee joints, relaxing the back of the thighs, relaxing the front and the back of the thighs. Coming into the hip area, you want to relax the hips. And from the hips, you're running across the glutes into the middle of your bum. And from the middle of your bum, you're coming under and over your reproductive organs into the pelvic area. Relaxing the pelvic area, relaxing any tension in the pelvic area. And now you're relaxing your lower abdomen, so the area between the pelvis and the belly button, and you relax your upper abdomen, so the area between the belly button and the rib cage. And now imagine a line running across the front of your chest, all the way across the belly button into the pelvic floor. And from there, you're starting to scan either side of the belly into the waist and into your lower back. And then it's almost like a scanner, when you're scanning a page into the printer. Now you're going to do the same. So you're scanning from the lower back all the way across the waist and into the front of the abdomen. And as you're here, start to notice if there's any area of the lower back or the front, the abdominal area, that feels uncomfortable or stiff, or an area that felt particularly uncomfortable as you were doing the moves today or the class. Now just spend the next couple of breaths really focusing on that part, sending a healing and warmth and relaxation with every breath that you're taking, deepening the breath, deepening the relaxation throughout the whole of your lower back and the front of your abdomen. And now I want you to almost scan your body. So I don't want you to move anything, okay? You're just becoming more aware of your body. Now start scanning your legs and how your legs are resting onto the mat. And now notice if one leg is turning more to the side than the other. Most likely you've got one side that is stiffer than the other, and that leg is not turning as much as the other one, okay? Don't do anything, just stay as you are. And now direct your breath all the way from the lower back into the legs and into any area that, as you're bringing the breath into the legs all the way down to the feet, bring your breath down into any area that feels uncomfortable or stiff, and just allowing it to relax. And now very gently start bringing your attention back. We're going to scan the back all the way from the lower back, coming either side of the spine, coming up into the middle of the back. Relax the middle of your back. Relax the space in between the shoulder blades. Relax your shoulder blades, coming all the way up to the top of your shoulders, coming over into the front of your chest, your breasts, all the way into the rib cage. And now turning into the sides of the rib cage, coming all the way up into your armpits, relaxing the shoulders from the armpit, the front of the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, and the back of the shoulder. Relax your upper arms, relax your elbows, relax your forearms, relax your wrists, and relax your hands. Come back to the top of your shoulders, relax the back of the neck, and relax the front of the neck. Relax your chin, relax your lower jaw. Just spend one next breath releasing the tension in the jaw and in the mouth, relaxing the upper lip and the mouth, relaxing the nose, and from the sides of the nose you're relaxing the cheeks all the way into the ears, relaxing your eye sockets, your temples, the forehead, the scalp, and the whole of your skull. Deepening the relaxation, feeling almost as if your body is melting into the mat. Take 3 breaths here, and with each breath you can also sigh out through the mouth if you want to, but take a deep breath in through the nose and just try again to release any tension that you're feeling as you're lying down into the mat now. And very gently bring the awareness back to the body. Take a deep breath in through your nose and sigh out through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through the mouth, start wiggling your toes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through the mouth, start wiggling your fingers. You can give yourself one long last stretch by bringing the legs together, arms over the head. Tense the whole body, point the toes up and release it. And then either hug the knees to the chest and rock yourself back and forward until you're coming up into a cross-legged position onto the mat, or roll yourself onto your right side, stay there for a breath or two, and then with the help of your left arm, push yourself up into a cross-legged position onto the mat. Bring your hands in front of your chest, close your eyes, and just make a mental note of how often you were able to just stay in the moment by tuning in with the breath and with the pose that you were doing, and how often your mind just wandered off. I also want you to notice if by doing these classes on a regular basis, if your awareness and if your focus is becoming sharper, okay? And just resolve that sooner or later you're gonna get into a position where you can do meditation. Thank you for practicing today. Namaste. If you've got any questions, please do ask.